You guys see okay, or is my bucket in the way?
I can see pretty.
Okay. All right, go ahead. So throwing a cylinder on the wheel, I demoed that yesterday, so today I want to show you how to keep something on the wheel. So I'm going to go kind of a little quicker through the process of throwing. I'm not going to take a whole lot of time, and I'll just talk about the keeping part. I'm working on the kick wheel today, but anybody's welcome to work on the kick wheel. It's a manual operated, so if you are a righty, you're kicking with your right foot out and away. And then there's little foot rests on the side. And every once in a while you'll have to re-kick to get your wheel speed going. Okay? Alright, so centering. Drilling, pulling my walls. Okay, what should I do now? Compress the bottom, yes. Please don't forget about this. It says it's a simple step, but it's super important. Why do we do this?
It doesn't crack.
So it doesn't crack on the bottom. You got it. Okay. What am I doing? Like, what prevents it from cracking? Why do I compress? What is it doing to the clay? It's strengthening it so that it won't crack. Okay. Bringing back my 90 degree if I need to. Cutting my wells. We're going to start to pull. It's a good habit to get into after every pull to compress your lip just to keep it in control. Or to collar if it's starting to go a little wide on you. It's a lot easier to throw just a little bit like a volcano and stretch it out than it is to stretch it out too wide and have to come back in. So if anything, if you have a little more pressure on that outside knuckle, that's a little bit more of a benefit. Knuckle in. Slow release when you get to the top. You want a little straighter walls, you can just kind of have your fingers set nice and vertical and just kind of correct any wonkiness or lumpiness. A wooden rib is kind of helpful if you want to get rid of your finger lines when you throw. So you can use kind of the straight edge of the rib and kind of compress a little bit on the outside, and that kind of helps erase some of those finger marks so you have a little smoother surface. Alright, so I'm at that point now that I'm pretty happy with what I have. Meets the requirements. And so I'm going to prep it to keep. Alright, so first thing I like to do is soak up the water that's on the inside. You want to make sure that that's gone. If you have water sitting at the bottom, it's going to force your piece to dry unevenly, and that's not good. Okay. Now down at the bottom here, you see I kind of have this lump of clay that kind of helps hold the clay onto the wheel head, but I really don't need it anymore. So this is where your wooden trim tool comes in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the trim tool with the straight edge kind of aimed at my cup, and I'm going to just kind of insert the point and push down till I hit the wheel head. And what that's going to do is kind of create a separation between this clay I don't want and my cup. And so this is what I call pre-trimming. So I just kind of start a trench and push down until I hit the wheel head. Okay, so there's that chunk of clay that I don't need. It's separated from my cup. And I like to do a little bit of an undercut under my piece so it doesn't look like the cylinder just goes straight down onto the table. An undercut creates a little bit of a shadow. And normally you have kind of a lot of clay at the bottom anyway, so we can get rid of that. So I'm just going to take my tool from this direction, or this angle, and just angle it just a little bit more underneath. And that's just going to remove a little bit more clay under the bottom. You'll see it when I take it off. Okay. So my outside looks good, my inside looks good, and I pre-trimmed my foot. Now I'm ready to take it off. You're going to want to grab a project board from our shelf back there, and a little one. You know, don't get a big one, because then, or you can get a big one and have multiple people share that board. Just because where we're going to put it is kind of tight for space. Okay, so grab a small one, an appropriate sized one. Get your clay cutter, and you're going to just wrap it around your fingers, push down with your thumb. I like to start in the front or the top and cut towards myself. Ergonomically, that's more comfortable. So I've released it, but we still have that chunk of clay that I want to get rid of. So I'll take a tool and just cut that, and that ribbon of excess clay comes off. Get it out of the way. Okay, and then, oopsies. You pause it. All right, these are called pot lifters. They're in our tool area on the left-hand side towards the white sink. And what these do, you just place them under your cup and you use it to transfer. The key to using these well is that you got to get them wet. Okay, so the clay will just slip off. Now, if you forget that stage and you get your clay on here and the clay is stuck, just take a little sponge and just add water, and it'll kind of sneak under your cup. Okay, so you get them under there. You have to kind of overlap. So one goes under, one goes over. Sometimes you have to give it a little twist. You transfer it to your board, and you just kind of have to pull or wiggle it out. Okay? So, there's my finished cup. You can kind of see that undercut, a little beveled edge under the bottom, and so that's what we want. Now, I would use either a piece of tape or some Post-it note to write my name on here. I would not write it on my piece right now. You don't want your name like carved into the side, probably, I'm guessing. We'll put it on the bottom. There's one more demo I have to show you, is how to officially clean up the bottom. We call that trimming. So there's one more demo in order to completely finish this cylinder. Okay? What I want to do is I'll have you come to the back, and I'm going to show you where you can keep your piece until you're ready to trim. Okay? I know, it's so weird. Sorry.
That's okay.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
These are our damp cabinets. So there's two just to the right and left back here in the glaze room. And when you open it up, there's probably some kids that forgot their pieces, and you can see they're bone dry. So you only want to leave your work in here for 24 hours. So if you put anything in there today, you got to get it out tomorrow. Otherwise, it's going to go bone dry, and you can't trim bone dry pieces. Okay? So here's a pile of tape or Post-it notes, and just write your name and your hour, and that can just go on your board so that you can identify your piece the next day. Okay? Now, what do you do if you're not ready to trim and it's been in here 24 hours? I have another place that you can save your work that is more for long-term storage. Okay? So we'll come out there, and it's
Okay.
in the video so that we know. Okay, cool. Did I tell you? Wait, what? Oh, okay. So we have 8 containers, 4 big tall ones and 4 kind of short ones, and these are called I call these the damp buckets. So damp cabinet, damp buckets. And these are from our long-term storage. That's what the sign says. And so if you throw a piece, a cylinder, and you're not quite ready to trim, or maybe it's on a weekend and you can't come back until Monday, meaning that it would sit in the damp cabinet too long, you want to just put them in one of these, and it will store. I've actually put pieces in here for 5 months, and they've been good for 5 months, and they've sustained the water moisture level just perfectly for 5 months. So they work pretty great. It's plaster of Paris that's in the bottom that retains water, and we just have to get it damp enough to kind of keep it humid in there. So if it's any longer than 24 hours, they go in here. If it's 24 hours, they go in there. Get it good? All right.